Happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to show you how I make a turkey from a friend of mine who is a turkey farmer's daughter. And I like making soup after I make a turkey, so I take all the skin off because I don't want all that fat on the top of the soup. So this is from my friend. You get your turkey, take it out of the freezer, put it in the fridge for a couple days before you're going to cook it. If it's still frozen or if you're late taking it out, I take it out the night before and I leave it on metal, something with divots so that the juices won't get all over everything. And if you need it to thaw any faster, even faster, you can take metal bowls and touch them to the top of the turkey, and that metal dissipates the frozen pretty quick. So if you need to thaw it faster, you can do it that way. But I take it out the night before and I put it on that if it's still quite frozen, and then I let it thaw, and that works great to thaw it. Then I take off my rings. I don't know if you can see in there. I'll focus for a second. And make sure I wash my hands with antibacterial soap up to the elbows. And then you cut the top off of the turkey bag and you leave the turkey in the bag. And then you take off this little clamp. Well, you don't take it off, you just take the legs out of the clamp. And so you can get the neck out. And we like the neck for soup, so I take the neck out and put it in the roasting pan, and then I wash and rinse the turkey because a lot of white foam will come out of the turkey, and what that is the chlorine that they dip the turkey in after they've killed it to kill any bacteria, and I really don't want to eat that, so I always rinse it. You don't want to use hot water, but I use just warm water when it's just becoming warm, and then I rinse that out, and I take the thing out, and if it's a little frozen inside still, I'll let it sit for a minute, and then I'll pull out the neck, rinse it until it's clear. When it runs with white foam, as long as there's white foam coming out of the bag, you want to continue rinsing it so that that bleach is no longer in your turkey. So that's why I leave it in the bag until I'm through rinsing it. When it runs clear, and I have pictures of all of this on my blog. I don't know how to edit. I don't have a way to edit video, so if you want to see pictures of that, you can see the white foam and you can see it running clear. My blog is thesecretisgratitude.com, and once it runs clear, then you take it out of the bag and you turn it upside down so you can get the giblets out. And we don't like giblets. None of us will eat them. So you keep the bag, roasting bag, so you can throw away the skin. Some people like the skin. I don't like it because, like I said, when I make soup afterwards, I don't want the fat in the bottom and the drippings, because when you make soup, then you have 2 inches of fat on the top of it when you pull it out of the thing, and then it's greasy on the top, and I don't like that. So what I do now is I start to skin the chicken, and you can take a knife. This is why you need your hands to be clean. You take a knife and you just start cutting away the bottom fat, and then I take a knife and you just slowly start to cut those membranes, or you can use your fingers. They break pretty easily. And you start to pull those membranes down. Now, if you like the skin, you can still do this. You pull the membranes down, cut off excess fat you don't want, like all of that, and then you put it in the bag, and then you can throw it all away. But if you like the skin on, what you do is you lift the skin up with a knife or with your hand, and then you season underneath there. Lowry seasoned salt is what my friend uses. She likes that the best. And she just takes her hand, she just puts the Lowry's in there, takes her hand. I did this for years, but I like this other way better now. And then she just slides her hand underneath and starts to, she puts the seasoning underneath the skin so that it's nice and seasoned, and the skin holds that moisture in and the seasoning in. Okay, so, and that's her method. My method is take all of the skin off, just keep breaking it down and cutting. You can see I'm getting in there a little bit more. I don't have 2 hands, but you break it down, get all of that membranes off, take all of the skin off that I can without losing any of the meat, and then once all of that's off, I use olive oil, garlic, minced garlic. I buy the kind that doesn't have any additives. It's just from California. I get some at Walmart, but I like the Kirkland brand. It doesn't turn brown as quickly. That's Costco brand. And then this is just my olive oil in a squirt bottle, so I can make it easier. And then I use, you can use parsley. I like this mix better. It's got a little bit more flavor. It's oregano, basil, rosemary, sage, and thyme, I think. Oh, and marjoram. And I get that from San Francisco Herb Co. Be careful because there's two companies. One had a problem with rodents and they were not really reputable, but this one is. And then on their website they say, we're the only company. We've been doing this for years. We're not affiliated with any other company. So that's them, and it's fabulous. I love it on roasted potatoes. And then I use this chili garlic sauce. And I've used this for years in my cooking, and we love it. If you like spicy, you don't have to add that if you don't like spicy, but we do. And if you can add a little bit, and you won't even taste the spice, but if you add a lot, it's a little bit more spicy. It gives the vegetables a little bit more flavor because they're on top of or around the roast usually. So this is how I do all my roasts. And because we go through so much of that, I go to the Chinese import store and I buy a gallon of it, and then I fill up the little jar and keep it in my other fridge. Sorry, my hands are icky. So that is, obviously, we've gone through a lot. It used to take me about a year to go through a gallon, but now it takes a little longer. I don't have as many people at home. So what I do is I don't normally buy these vegetable ready packs, stew packs, but if you're in a hurry and you don't want to deal with washing and cutting up vegetables, you can buy these stew packs that kind of have everything cut up, washed, and ready. I don't like the onions so big, so I would cut those smaller, and normally I just cut up my own vegetables, but this is just, I wanted to show you an easy, quick way. And then I would probably leave the celery that long, and then I just rinse this. I got to, open it up, and then I just rinse it. And once it's rinsed, I would cut the potatoes into chunks, though. Once it's rinsed, then I finish the turkey, and always, always, always roast the turkey upside down, because that keeps the moisture in. If you want to use a roasting bag, that's fine, but I like all the garlic and the seasonings to get into the turkey and the juices of the turkey to help season the vegetables. So I don't use a roasting bag. You can. This is not my favorite roaster. I usually use the black enamel one, but because I have so many people home for Thanksgiving, we're going to use the bigger one. So once the fat is off of the turkey, you turn it upside down so that the meat is in the juice all the time. So that's how your turkey doesn't dry out. And this is how my friend that's dad that lived up on a turkey farm did it. So you roast the turkey upside down. Either way, whether the skin is on or off, you roast it upside down. It doesn't have that look like the family Thanksgiving picture, but the turkey is much more moist and much more flavorful because it's roasting in its own juices and the seasoning. Then once the turkey is upside down in the center of the pan, you dump in the vegetables. Normally I use 1 or 2 of these, depending on how many people are home, and I use about 10 pounds of, probably about 5 to 10 pounds of potatoes, and I'll cut the onions smaller than that, because we like onions, but we don't like a big chunk of onion, so I usually cut those smaller. Don't always add celery. Add salt. That's a natural additive of salt, is celery, but because I use the other flavorings, I don't necessarily mean it. Then what I do is I sprinkle the whole thing with the parsley flakes or this seasoning stuff, and then I use a tablespoon to spoon about 3. With this size, I would probably do 4 tablespoons sprinkled all over the top of the vegetables and the roast, and then about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of this if you like it spicy on a small roast. On a bigger one, a smaller one, don't use that much if you don't like too spicy, but probably a half a teaspoon on a small roast, and maybe 2 large teaspoons on a roast this size. And you can see I've got about 4 or 5 of these and the turkey, so that's a lot of cooking, things cooking. So then you cook it for the recommended amount of time. I usually check it about an hour before, depending on how high the heat is. Sometimes I'm in a hurry and I'll turn the heat up a little bit and cook it for a shorter amount of time, but I don't like to do that because I don't want to burn the vegetables on the outside of the roast. About an hour in on a turkey, then I'll put in the yams roast, because I like those roasted, not candied. And I will also put in squash and look on my blog for how we roast those. I usually just cut them up and put them in a foil and then in a pan so that the juices don't spill onto the bottom. But I don't want those in necessarily for 5 hours. I'll probably put them in for 3 hours, depending on the size of the squash. So then we take it out and we cut it, and we don't have to deal with any fat or any greasy stuff or gravy. If you want to make gravy, it would be a little bit spicier than normal, but because we make soup, I don't make gravy. I take the drippings and I boil the turkey carcass down, and that is also on my blog, so go to thesecretisgratitude.com to check that out, and I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.